Yo guys, what is up? Max on our First Descendant video, and today we've got a kind of ultimate beginner's guide going over everything that you need to know. Now, I've been playing First Descendant, including the betas and the full launch, for about 200 hours. I've done a lot of min-maxing, a lot of testing, and I want to explain not only some of the basic things you need to understand to improve your character and get further into the game, but also just some general tips and guidance. I hope you enjoy the guide. And with that, guys, let's get right into it. So there's actually quite a bit to talk about with this game. So this is going to be a longer video, and there's going to be timestamps down at the bottom where you can go to a specific section. So let's say you already know about unlocking new descendants. You can skip that section and just learn about how to scale your skill damage and things like that. So you can find all the timestamps down at the bottom. All right, so there's quite a bit of depth to the First Descendant. There's a lot of stats. There's a lot of menus. It can be pretty confusing. We're going to start with a little bit of a general overview of just what the heck everything is going on here and how the game actually functions, and then we'll get into this more nitty-gritty specifics if you're looking to try to min-max and get the most damage out of your character. So to start, First Descendant is a free-to-play looter shooter that has descendants. Now, the descendants are your warframes. They are characters. They are locked. They have their own personalities. They have their own backstories. You cannot change their abilities. You can modify them. But the point of the game is, instead of having like one character that you fully customize and play, you're probably going to end up playing a bunch of different characters. And all of these characters have things that they're good at. A lot of the First Descendant is there's different mission types and there's different things that have proposed different challenges, and finding the right tool or the right descendant for the job is going to really help you out. So you're probably going to be playing a few descendants here and there. There's descendants that are good at bossing. There's descendants that are good at AoE farming. There's descendants that are good at supporting your teammates, and all of them can be useful once you get into the higher difficulties. Now, each descendant comes with 4 abilities. They're coming with, as you level them up, you'll unlock all of their abilities, and as you level them further, those abilities will get upgraded. So maybe they'll get more damage on those abilities, and those abilities upgrade up until level 40. Level 40 is the max level for your descendants. However, your guns will keep increasing up to level 100. Each descendant also comes with a passive skill. Some of these are more complicated than others. This is the passive skill description of Viessa. It's pretty complicated. I will probably have like ultimate guides on each specific descendant, going into like really nitty gritty on what they do and how to scale their damage. But just for this video, know that there's a lot of good descendants to pick from, and they're good at different things. You're not going to be one descendant that's the best at everything. Now, when you're starting the game, you're going to get offered the option of picking your first descendant. No pun intended. That is a choice between Viessa, Leapic, and Ajax. Just in terms of quick personal recommendations, Viessa is really great for AoE fighting. She gets a speed boost, which you can apply to yourself and make you move really quickly. So if you're just trying to get through the first bits of the game, I recommend Viessa. Leapic has pretty solid AoE. However, Ultimate Leapic, if you're going to farm him, is where the real damage can kind of come in for bossing. And if you're looking for a character that's going to last you in the long haul, I recommend Ajax. I think Ajax is the most awkward feeling of them and the worst of them for like the first 10 levels. However, Ajax has some really cool builds where you can build to reflect damage that melts bosses. He's always useful in the harder fights. And so if you're trying to pick a descendant that's going to last you the longest, I'd go with Ajax, but you do get Bunny within your first hour of playing, and Bunny is a very, very powerful AoE farmer, in that she just runs around really quickly and does a lot of damage in a big area. Now that we've broken down kind of how the First Descendant works and a little bit about the characters, let's talk about the guns. Now, the guns in the First Descendant are a little bit of set guns, but they have some random variation to them, and they all work a little bit differently. So to start us off, when you look at a gun, each gun has a different ammo type. It's ideal to not be running 3 guns of the exact same ammo type. That's more so what these indicators are for. You've got impact rounds, you've got special rounds, you've got general rounds, you've got high power rounds. And if you are using 2 weapons that both have general rounds, they will share the same ammo pool, meaning that you're going to run out of ammo more often. High power rounds are the most rare drops. You have the least of them. Those are going to be your shotguns, rocket launchers, and sniper rifles. Special rounds are your like beam rifles and burst rifles, and then your green rounds are going to be your scout rifles and your hand cannons. Now, in terms of having a loadout, I try to recommend just picking up whatever gun feels good to you and rocking it. You're going to be changing out your weapons a ton while you're leveling, so don't feel bad about constantly dismantling and breaking down your weapons. It's going to be something that they just drop more weapons than you could ever imagine. However, you do want to keep an eye out for weapons that roll with particularly good stat rolls. Now, stat rolls on weapons, you'll see based off of their rarity, they're going to have either a yellow, a blue, or a purple marker. And the reason it's not a bad idea to keep an eye out for some of these that roll with three of like purples, three yellows, is because you can actually level up these weapons. These weapons, if you get one to drop at level 5, you can actually make a level 50 weapon if you so please. Obviously, that costs materials, and you're only going to do that if you get a perfect roll. But if you find a weapon that you really like and you really enjoy, you can actually upgrade that weapon. And so most of the weapons you're recycling, but make sure to keep an eye out for things that roll with better percentage damage, better percentage crit damage. Things that have flat elemental damage can be really good. If you find something that has like flat fire damage is pretty great, like this tac rifle rolled with firearm crit rate, fire attack, firearm attack, and less recoil, all pretty good stats. And then once you find a weapon that you like, you are able to favorite it. You can go in, click it, and favorite it. And then once you are able to upgrade that weapon, you can come to this machine in town. Now, this is the workbench. There's a lot of things that you can do with it. The big thing is that you can upgrade the level of a weapon. So I have a level 1 legendary hand cannon. I'm obviously never going to use it at level 1, but I, for example, can use this material to upgrade it to a level 41, and then it'll increase its base attack by a tremendous amount. And you can craft this material for free. You don't need to like spend any money to be able to do this. The other thing that you can do at the workbench is weapon readjustment. So let's say that I really liked the fact that this machine gun rolled with crit damage, weak point damage, but I didn't like the weapon change speed. I like the chill attack because those are all pretty good stats. You could technically, if I don't have the resources for this, but you can technically re-roll these weapons over and over and over again. However, if you get something you really like, you can actually keep them and re-roll the things you don't like. So let's say I wanted to keep these 2 rolls. I could now lock these 2 rolls, and now I would re-roll its random perks, and I would get completely random things for chill attack and weapon change speed, and I would keep my weak point damage and firearm crit. For min-maxing and getting the most out of your weapons, this is something you're going to want to do, but I wouldn't worry about it till you're pretty far into the game. The system works a little bit similarly when it comes to ultimate weapons. Now, ultimate weapons are something that you can farm. They are set weapons that have set unique abilities that do different things. Some weapons are great at doing gun damage. Some weapons are specifically used for giving your character who's doing ability damage and skill damage more skill damage, or reducing the defenses of an enemy so that you can do more damage with their skills. So not every gun is just shooty shoot, do damage. There's a lot of unique weapons. However, that unique weapon, once you get it, that's just the start of that weapon. You can upgrade the unique ability of the weapon. For example, once you get a duplicate, so there's always a reason to keep crafting more of the same legendary if you really like one. For example, if I get another Thunder Cage, which I have right here, when I upgrade it, my electric shockwave that the Thunder Cage does is going to get a bigger trigger rate. So it's going to trigger more often in a bigger radius, and the gun's going to have lower reload time. So the more I find this, the better the weapon gets, and the more I spend using my specific weapon, the more I can invest into it and the more powerful it will get. So legendaries or unique weapons are pretty cool in this game, where you're going to want to try to get as many as you can because you're going to make your current weapons better and better and better. Now, let's say you got a weapon that you like or you've upgraded, you hit good perks on, and you want to make it deal a lot of damage. That comes to the mod system. Now, this is a confusing screen to look at for the first time. I'm going to do my best to explain it. And if you've played Warframe, you're probably already familiar with how this system works. If you're not, I'm going to break it down for you. So every weapon, every Descendant, it works the same for Descendants, have a module capacity. this is the amount that you can fit on that weapon or descendant before you run out of space. It's similar to, like, for example, Call of Duty has like a pick 10 system where you get to pick different attachments to put on your weapon, and different attachments have different costs, and then you can come up with your own weapon to deal the most damage. It works pretty similar here. You've got mods that, for example, this action and reaction is going to cost me 5 in its current slot, where it's giving me 26% increased damage with the weapon, but 8% more recoil. A lot of the purple mods will have a positive and a negative. Sometimes they just have 2 positives. But this mod currently only costs me 10 capacity to use. That is because it's in a matching slot. Now, if you look at this closely, it's got a little M, a 3 like dash lines here. And if I put it over here, it now costs me 10. I go to 45 capacity. And that's because each of these slots, or some of the slots that you find on weapons and your descendants, will have a polarity. That polarity, if you put a matching polarity slot in it, gets half the cost. And so this is really important because obviously the more things you can put on a weapon, or the more mods that you put on a weapon or a descendant, the more powerful it's going to be. So halving the cost of those things is really, really powerful. And so you basically, when any weapon, any descendant, you're adding things that are going to be increasing the damage, increasing the fire rate, whatever you want to build. You can build the weapon for crit. You can build it for high just weapon damage. You can build it for high elemental damage. The way that you build them is you're adding the mods to the weapon and then trying to fit them in the right slots so that the things that cost the most are in slots that have polarity, so that they end up costing less. And this allows you to do some pretty cool things with the modding. And once you're in the modding screen, you can actually see the actual DPS of the weapon change. So I lost that mod, and I lost 6,000 DPS just by equipping that mod back again. So the modding screen is pretty intuitive. You can mess around with it. I do recommend it's better to have like a few mods that are pretty leveled than like a lot of mods that are unleveled, because as you upgrade these mods, they actually get percentage increases. So your first levels on them, they like kind of exponentially increase the value. As you upgrade them, your first upgrades are going to be really cheap, but they don't really do all that much. As you get into the more and more expensive upgrades, it'll cost significantly more. However, you're actually going to get a bigger bang for your buck on the upgrade from like a tier 12 to a tier 13 than you would on like a tier 3 to a tier 4. And that's quite different than something like Warframe, where every single notch in a Warframe mod is exactly the same amount of damage. In this game, the final upgrades to your mod are also going to be the biggest damage increase. So it's really important to find a mod that you really like. For example, I really like Action and Reaction, to start investing into so that you can get the most damage out of that specific mod. Now, reactors are something that they added into the game as a way to scale your damage off of, because your reactor gives you your damage that your skill is going to deal. So if we come to our descendants, if we look at any of them and look at their abilities, all of them are going to have a skill power percentage, basically. So these are going to be that skill power, that number, it doing at base 148% of my skill power. And now when I've got some upgrades on, it's doing 178%. That is based off of your reactor. Now, there's a bunch of different reactors, all with a bunch of different stats. And what this is basically trying to get you to do is line up all of your bonuses to get the most out of it. So you can see right here at the bottom, it's got my skill power when equipped, and it'll tell me the damage that my abilities will deal with this specific skill reactor. And it's got a optimization condition. This optimization condition, if you match it, you're going to get increased damage from. So for example, this reactor that I've got has the ability that if I put on a machine gun, now that I've put that on, I hit the optimization condition. So I'm going to get even more boost out of this. So I'm now getting a 40% increase of my skill damage just by wearing or holding a machine gun. It doesn't need to be equipped. I can still run around with my Thunder Cage. It's just now that I'm hitting that bonus, I'm going to get a damage increase. Now, the next thing to pay attention to is the skill power boost ratios. You'll see that this has an electric skill power boost and a fusion skill power boost ratio. Now, you can kind of see the symbols down on the bottom where it says skill power when equipped. for the symbols of what is a fusion and what is like a dimensional ability on Bunny. And I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but these are basically just skill tags that are applied to every skill. Every skill in the game has typically 2 skill tags. So, for example, Bunny's 3, when you're running around and doing the electric pulse, is electrical singular. And so if I'm wanting to scale the damage of this ability the most, I'm going to want to be using things that are boosting electrical damage and singular. The reason that these have multiple tags is because when you're making your build decisions, you usually have to decide on a specific ability that you want to scale. So for Bunny, everything has the electrical tag. So any electrical boost is going to increase my damage. But if I really want to make Thrill Bomb hit hard, I can add fusion increases, and then I won't have the damage increases for lightning emission, which is Bunny's, like, in my opinion, best ability. So for Bunny, for example, we would want lightning and singular damage boosts. For someone like Leapik, let's say you really wanted to scale his grenade throw, the explosion, you would want fire and tech. So I don't have like the best thing on Bunny, but this is going to boost my electrical skill powers and my fusion skill powers. And so getting everything to kind of align with your build, if you can find it, you're going to get the best reactor possible. Now, this is actually just step 1 of really starting to scale your damage. Once you find a perfect reactor, let's say, for your character, and there are legendaries. Legendaries, ideally, is what you're using because you can get another 20% additional damage from it. But while you're leveling, I wouldn't worry about it too much. But if you find a really good legendary reactor, I'd hold on to it. And that is for a few reasons. The first is for the reactor enhancement. Now, when you enhance your reactor, you're just going to be buffing those base stats. So, for example, this is the reactor I'm using, right? And if I upgrade it, which I don't have the material that I need right now, I can actually upgrade the ranks of this. Now, this only goes up to 2 ranks because it's a non-legendary, but I'll be getting a decent bit more base damage. However, if I'm ranking up a legendary, there is... Oh, it's still 2 ranks, actually. So 2 ranks on legendaries, 2 ranks on non-legendaries. But if you find your perfect match reactor, this is going to be something that you're going to want to do to even further its damage. Next up, we've got the external components. Now, these are not something that you really need to care about too much. I do want to show you a quick tip, though, is when you're getting these, and this applies to basically anything, but specifically to these because you don't want to spend too much time managing your inventory with them, there is a new tool that they've added to the game, which is really cool. Which you can actually click and open your filter all as junk. And you've got a different kind of filter that you can put for your weapons, for your reactors, for your external components. For example, on my weapons, right now, I don't care about anything that's 26 or lower. I can now like raise this up. I probably don't care about anything that's like 32 or lower. Realistically, if I'm just trying to break things down quickly. But weapons with a enhanced unique ability, we can exclude. So if we get a cool weapon, it's not going to input that in the filter. For external components, you want to make external components with set effects excluded. This allows you to basically, if you get a external component with a set effect, if you junk all, it won't delete them. And these components can come with defense, they can come with max shield, they can come with HP, and they roll with random modifiers. I'd strongly recommend looking for the character XP gain modifier to find on things. You can rank that up and you'll level faster on your things. But it's also really helpful to find the set bonuses. These set bonuses are massive, they're very rare to find, and if you can get a full set, you're going to be doing really well. For example, this is the Battle Aesthetics set. I only have 1 piece of it so far, and because my filter is set to exclude them, I'll never delete anything with a set effect. But this is going to give me, when I get the full set bonus, 18% crit hit rate, more skill power, and reduced skill cost just by equipping these. So once again, these are not something you need to care about too much because they can just give you the things that you need for your character. They're all defense oriented, but the set bonuses can be pretty powerful. I personally recommend building defense on most characters unless you're playing a character that has a specific interaction with certain things. Like, for example, on Glay, you don't want to build max shield because Glay can't have a shield, but building max health on Glay is really, really great. So different characters have different kind of stats that they want, but if you're just looking for a general best, I personally recommend defense. So the next thing to talk about is your mastery rank. And mastery rank comes from ranking up descendants and weapons. The more you play with a descendant, the more its level will increase. The more you play with different weapons, the more your proficiency level with them, it will increase. And when you are fully upgraded, you've leveled a warframe or a descendant and a weapon, you may get the option to level your mastery rank. Now your mastery rank will at base increase your capacity that you can put on any of your descendants. It'll increase the capacity and potentially the slots that you can put on your weapons. It'll increase your inventory slots. I think you start with 75 inventory slots. I'm currently up to 90, so it really helps. And this is a big incentive to play new weapons and new descendants. Once you get a descendant to level 40, you can do the equivalent of a Forma, where you can reset them back to level 1 and add one of those polarity slots to them that we were talking about earlier so that you can fit more mods on them, or you can also play another descendant. And the more descendants that you play, the more that you find, the more weapon types that you use, the more mastery rank that you will upgrade. And that mastery rank, even if you don't want to use a sniper rifle, if you use a sniper rifle for a day, you're going to get the master rank from using it, and then you can go back and do more things on the things that you like to play. So not a bad idea to switch things up. You can see your like proficiency level, which is basically how much you use that weapon, down in whenever you're hovering a weapon. You can see your mastery rank if you hover over at the top of your mastery rank 9, and then my own unique like character is level 27. So these are all independent things, but your master rank is for all of your classes. So next up, we're going to talk about how to acquire your first descendant, or let's say you want to acquire a certain sniper rifle. This game is full of dedicated drops. However, those dedicated drops are laced with a bunch of RNG. But in order to get the things that you want, you need to know where to go. So if you open up your map, that's M for me on keyboard, you can go over to the tab that says Access Info. This is kind of your like big wiki in the game of everything that you need to know and where to find them. And so, for example, if we wanted to go get a descendant, we wanted to go get Freyna, we could come over, click on Freyna. These are going to be the 3 parts that we need. Every descendant needs your like 3 parts and then the code. So we need the cells, we need the stabilizer, we need the catalyst, and then we need the code to fully build Freyna. Now, in order to go and get these things, you need to know where to go. You can hit F. For me, once again, that's on keyboard. And it'll tell you the 2 missions that have a drop chance of the spiral catalyst. So Freyna Enhanced Cells, the stabilizer, there's the missions that do it, that have the chance. You can go directly click on that and then see the exact mission. Just you click the lumberyard, travel over here. If we Alt Tooltip scroll, we can see the Freyna stabilizer has a 20% chance to drop from the Ruins path. So basically, you go to the Access Info, you find the descendant you want, you find the materials, and then you can go and get specifically linked to the missions that you want to do to get them. Now, it's not that simple for all of them because the different descendants are a little bit tiered where, you know, the newer ones are a little bit harder to get, for example. So as you can see, if we click on Edsebo, his screen looks a little bit different. This guy would have to go get all the materials to craft and build. So that's very different. Instead of having to do missions with a % chance, now I've just got to go farm all of these materials to build him, but I also still need to get the blueprints in addition to that, and now it'll lead to the amorphous material. Now, amorphous material is an interesting thing in the game. So different non-main missions will give you amorphous material. So these are going to be things that are like the missions that have bosses in them. Anything that is a special operation will usually give you amorphous material. And all of these things are kind of giving you something that's akin to a loot crate that you can open up, and you do that by fighting the bosses in the Void Intercept. So this is amorphous material pattern 11 that I was able to get just by doing random things. And then if I wanted to open this, You can see that I acquired this from the Block Cooper Mining. If I wanted to open this, I'd want to see what boss I need to kill, basically. So if I click the linked acquisition, that means I need to go kill Stunning Beauty. So if I go to the Void Intercept, now we go to our map, we go to our world map, we go to Void Intercept, and we go to Stunning Beauty, level 22. If I went and killed her, I would go and be able to open that material, and you can see that these are the materials that I can open by killing this boss, and these check marks indicate that I already have this material in my inventory. So for example, if I wanted to build the Kingsguard Lance, which is a unique weapon, I would need to open this specific thing on Stunning Beauty, which I have a 6% chance of unboxing, basically. And this is where some of the real RNG comes in, is you need to have the RNG to get this material, and then you need the RNG to open the thing that you want. And so this is where the hours can really start to pile on, is getting the right material and then getting the small drop chance after you get the material to get the thing you want. And then you need like 4 of those things to build the actual weapon. Next up, let's talk about the store. It's in the game. It's not my favorite thing, but there are going to be people who are interested in it. And I just kind of want to talk about it real quick to answer some questions. So first off, you can buy any of the Descendants outright. You cannot buy any of the unique weapons. So all of the crazy weapons that have multiple abilities that you have to get multiple of to fully upgrade and min-max, you can't buy any of that in the store, but you can buy the Descendants. The different Descendants have a different cost based off of kind of how new they are or the value that the devs have placed on them. So for example, Kyle, Esimo, Yujin are all the most expensive. If we go to the Caliber store, if I wanted to buy one of those, I would need at least 900 Caliber. So that's about 20 USD. The rest of them, the ones that are like cheaper, you can get for around $5 to $10. And you can definitely buy all of these Descendants. There's also tons of skins that you can buy. There are Ultimate Descendants, which range from $55 for the base bundle to $100 US for the Ultimate Pack. I don't personally think I recommend buying the Ultimate Pack unless you really like the cosmetics. And there also is a bit of pay to progress faster. Obviously, you can buy the Descendants, but you can also buy these big premium enhancement packages. These give you materials that you would need to grind and wait the time to craft, and in a very large quantity. You can see that I bought the premium starter package. This gave you a bunch of really powerful mods and like 70,000 Cooper shards, which at the time when I bought it, I only had 6,000. So there's some really powerful things that you can buy in the store. You can also buy boosters, which will give you increased experience gain, and like increased weapon proficiency if you want to rank up your master rank faster. In terms of things that I recommend buying if you do want to make a purchase and support the devs, the premium starter pack is, in my opinion, pretty fantastic because these mods are mods you're going to want to invest into. And the premium enhancement package will help you rank up your weapons and do those weapon rerolls so that you can get perfect weapons. This is a pretty good purchase as well. But once again, that is entirely up to you. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was enhancing, dismantling, and combining modules. Now, modules are the mods that you can attach to your weapon. You can view all of the mods that you have in your inventory. If you equip your mods or if you equip your mods to your Descendant or your weapons, you can just simply scroll to the mods and then you use gold and Cooper shards to upgrade them. Once again, as you can see, like for example, what I was talking about with better concentration, on my rank 1 upgrade, I'm getting like 1.3% of a damage increase. However, if I go all the way up from, for example, rank 15 to rank 16, now I'm getting a like 5% damage increase. So the higher values that you go, the further you push them on, the more you'll actually get value-wise out of them for the later upgrades, but obviously they cost significantly more. And you're going to want to be upgrading your mods. One of the most important things to upgrade early is going to be these gold mods that you can find. These mods are different than other mods because when you upgrade them, you're not actually making them cost more. What you are doing is you're giving yourself more capacity on your Descendant. So as you can see, if I upgrade my grappling mod, I can get up to another 3 total capacity on my Descendant, which is really good. And lastly, in terms of modules to upgrade and what you should prioritize, you get bigger bang for your buck if you're upgrading things that are in polarized slots than non-polarized slots. So the reason it's most valuable to rank up mods that are in polarity slots is because those polarity slots cut those things in half. So you want to always kind of have an odd number if you can to get the most out of it, because an even number is going to give you worse value at the same cost. So for example, this technician mod, if I upgrade it to rank 13, I'm going to go from a 48 mod capacity to 49. That fills me up. However, if I go to rank 14, it technically costs 1, but it doesn't because 13 is getting rounded to 7, and 14 is also getting rounded in half to 7. So if I upgrade this to 14 rather than 13, I'm getting more bang for my buck, even though it's not actually costing me anymore in my module capacity. So if you do have mods that are in polarity slots, those are the ones you're going to want to invest in more because they're going to cost you less, and you're going to get more value out of your rank ups on them. To be able to upgrade your mods more, you're going to want to be dismantling duplicate mods. There's not really any reason to have duplicate mods in this game. They added a feature where you can hit select duplicate modules, and now all of my duplicate modules will get basically picked. So as you can see, if we go to my fire enhancement, it's going to grab 1 fire enhancement, 2 fire enhancements, 3, but it won't grab this 4th one, because it's going to leave me 1 copy of it so I can safely dismantle. I was at 36,000 Cooper shards, and I'm about to dismantle 105 mods for almost double the amount of like upgrade capacity that I had. So boom, I can get that. Now I just got double my capacity. Quickly press a button, select all the duplicates, delete them all, and then you can upgrade the mods that you care about and that you want to enjoy. Lastly, there is a combined module button. This is not something I would recommend worrying about. This is basically module gambling. If you have 4 purple mods and you're looking for something in particular, or just don't need the Cooper shards to upgrade your current ones, and you're really looking for specific mods, you can actually put in these mods and add them basically, and then you combine them and it'll give you a random mod. That mod could be something that you already have. It could be something that you don't have. It's basically a way to gamble for things that you might need, but if you already have a lot of mods, you probably don't need to do gambling. And I'd probably recommend, once you're starting out, to just be getting as many shards as you can to upgrade. But you can do this to basically gamble to get specific things. I think the real way to do this is once you're kind of rich in the game, there are these transcendent mods that are going to be very rare and quite exclusive. If you can manage to get 4 yellow mods that you don't care about, I think that would be a good time to then try to hit a transcendent mod, which can transform the way your abilities work on the characters. These are exceedingly rare to find. And so if you're going to use this system, that's probably the way I'd recommend doing it. But I wouldn't worry about it too much when you're starting out. If you are looking to level up quickly, whether you made a new character or you're struggling at the stage that you're in, one of the really easy ways and efficient ways to level up in this game are defense missions. Now, if you come from the entrance and just go left, you'll find this little icon that has our defense icon. You can go here, and then there's a bunch of these special missions. The one I recommend for new characters is the Kingston defense. This gets you to like level 15 in a single completion. If you're just going like 7 rounds. So very, very efficient experience. You just kill tons and tons of things. Having a Descendant that can kill things quickly in a large AoE definitely helps. And it also helps to bring friends, but That is the best way that I've found so far to level up early. If you are later on and you have a character that's level 20 to level 30 and you want to push higher, the ones that I've unlocked so far have been Sterile Lands and Echo Swamp. I really, really like Sterile Lands. This one's great. Echo Swamp, you do need to be pretty built for. I probably wouldn't recommend trying it until you're at least 25 or 30 on your character. But these specific defense missions are really great. This Vespers Neutralize, I wouldn't recommend doing at all. I just don't think that's a good archetype. You're going to want to do the defense ones. These seem the best. And then I hope to unlock this Defense Fortress as well later on. Guys, that is going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. This was a much longer video. I don't normally post videos that are like over 30 minutes long. So if you got through the whole thing, let me know down below. That does actually help me figure out if posting videos this long is actually worthwhile. And yeah, guys, I will catch y'all in the next one. If you have any questions about the game, you can always find me over at twitch.tv/Moxie. We'll be live streaming the game and playing as much as we can. And with that, guys, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Take care. Peace.